Hey guys, you are in the cut with Slidercuts. Hey guys, today I'm taking you through a tutorial haircut which will be a 1.7 going with the grain on top with a mid to high skin fade. It will be 10 steps, simple. The first step is to comb out the hair and reduce the hair to the desired level, which in this case will be a 1.7. Go over it quite a few times so to make sure that it's all level and it's at that level, because if you go over it once it's likely not to be all level. So step 2 will be to put your line around the client's head. This line will determine where your fade will start. This one is a mid to high skin fade, so this one will not be that low. You can put the line wherever you like, but that will just determine what type of fade you'll be producing. I use my wall icon to take all the hair off, but then I go on to using a wall detailer to really get it really skin. I feel like it's very efficient. There are other clippers out there you can use. I choose to use these clippers. After you're satisfied that it's skin all around, make sure you get around the ears as well. That's a rookie mistake. I'll proceed to step 4. Step 4 is creating the first barrier. This barrier will separate the fade into 2 parts. I'm using a number 0.5 to create this barrier. You can also use a number 1, which I sometimes do. In another video I'll explain all the different gauges, because I've had people ask me about this, because there's a 0.5 gauge, but then I call without a gauge on a 0.5, and then there's a 1, there's a 1.5 gauge. In another video I'll explain all of that. So in fading it now, because we need to fade out this line, make sure, since I'm used a 0.5, the whole purpose of a fade is to go from one level to another. So we're already at 0.5, now I need to fade this out into skin, which will be 0. So remember the steps which I taught you in other videos, which is, if it's a 0.5, then you want to go to 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, and then 0, and that'll create a fade. Make sure as you are fading it that you are bringing the clipper down, so that you're not bringing the 0.1 right up to the line. The whole idea should be that at the top of the line it should be 0.5, a little bit under it 0.4, a little bit under it 0.3, a little bit under that 0.1, and then bang on that line it should be a 0 that you're using. Step 5. Now we faded in the bottom barrier from a 0.5 to 0. Now it's time to fade in the top part of the barrier, which is from a 1.7, which is what his hair is at the top, to the 0.5, which is the top of the barrier from the bottom one. I hope this isn't sounding too confusing. Because this is a mid to high skin fade, it can be more difficult, because when I'm fading in the part I'm fading in now, you've got less space to work with. So you've got to be patient and work with it. Don't jump the gun, stick to the same method. From the top, you do the highest level, which will be a 1.7 in this case. Then you gradually bring it down, and as you're bringing the levels down, also with yourself, bring your fade down so it can create a fade from the 1.7 all the way down to the 0.5, then down to the 0, and it'll be one smooth blend. Be patient with it, keep flicking at it. Piece of advice, don't try and perfect everything first time round, meaning you can leave some things to the end. As long as you get to a good place, then you just keep moving, because it can get very tedious if you're trying to perfect everything before you move on. So as I'm coming towards the end of fading this part, if you look just where my comb is, where I'm combing right now, can you see that line? So these are the things sometimes you got to look at and think, use your kind of wisdom and say, well, what do I do there? So start with a high gauge, the original gauge, and just keep flicking over it. Don't try and take it low, just keep scraping over it. You will hear that it's cutting because it will make a sound of cutting. And just keep flicking over it because it's just a heavy piece of hair. So you will find when you're fading in anybody's hair, these things constantly happen. When you finish, you look around, you see kind of like heavy parts of hair where it's a bit darker. The simple thing to do is just to go over it with a level, depending on what the level is. In this case, I went over it with a 1.7 and just flick over it. You keep flicking over it, then you just see it kind of disappear. Sometimes it might be, you know, another part of the fade nearer the bottom. Then you just kind of think to yourself, what did I do there? Was it a 1? Was it a 0.5? And so forth. Step 6, shaping up. Piece of advice, guys, when you're shaping up, just stay on the edge. Before you try and start getting the correct angles and all of that kind of stuff there and making it a real straight line, just keep on the edge. It's best to stay on the edge and then look at it and say, oh, let me change that angle or move that a little bit back and straighten that up. But don't try and jump into the deep end and just make it a straight line. Also, remember this tip, you are shaping up hair, not skin. So don't press down hard and scar him, because that's what will happen. You will scar your client. So be gentle. Another piece of advice is, when you're cutting someone's hair, shaping it up or fading or whatever it is, if you stare at something too long, your vision starts to get distorted. So a good piece of advice is just to step back and look at it from fresh eyes. Step 7, shaping up the beard. Normally you'd reduce the beard, but this client is growing his beard out. In shaping up the beard, the same as shaping up the hairline, just keep it on the edge. Before you start thinking about the correct angles and how to level it up straight away, just keep it on the edge and then step back, look at it, and then say, okay, I need to bring this side down or that side down or this side up, or change the angle a little bit. But don't get overexcited and just jump into it. Unless you're just a super professional, advanced, you know, Super Saiyan barber, then you know, this is not to you. Also, something to think about. When you're holding a clipper, when you're shaping up somebody, whether it's their beard or their hairline, think about the angle that you're holding that clipper at. So if you're holding a clipper vertically and you're shaping up one side of his beard like I'm doing now, on the other side you should be holding the clipper at the exact same angle, or else you'll have one side looking a little bit different. But don't worry that much about it right now. It's just something to think about. Finish off the beard by just fading it out. Step 8. Look over the haircut and see if there's anything that needs to be gone over. So right now I'm going over some things that I've seen. Sometimes there might be heavy patches of hair where you just need to kind of flick over it. Might be the shape up, needs neatening up, you know, straightening up or anything like that. But yeah, this is the point you do it. Step 9, scissor work. The purpose of this is to smoothen off the hair, catch all the stray hairs. You can also use a clipper to do this, but I'm using a pair of scissors, just so it lies down flat, and especially if he's got waves, it will really come out. Step 10, look at your work. Show your client the mirror, make sure that your client is happy. Dust him off, take him out the chair, and then bring in your new client. If you like these videos and you like this video, please like the video, leave your comments underneath, and please don't forget to subscribe. I'm also on other platforms of social media like Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram and Facebook. Please follow me on all of them. You have been in the cut with Slidercuts.